The Young and the Restless scoop for Monday, November 3rd, reveals Kyle Abbott's text will pull at Claire Newman's heartstrings. Also coming up, Nick Newman and Sharon Newman will try to confront Matt Clark. Plus, Jack Abbott will offer his son advice, and Holden Novak will ask Claire about regrets. Y&R spoilers tease Claire, and Holden's steamy lovemaking will continue. After they're through, Holden will tell Claire it was amazing, and so is she. Claire will admit it's the first time she let herself lose control. Holden will ask if she has any regrets. No, she'll reply, and kiss him. They'll decide it's best if he leaves before morning, since her whole family is staying at the hotel. Holden will say he knows she's busy with her family, but if she has any spare time, maybe they can get together later. After Holden leaves, Claire will see Kyle's text, and she'll have a guilty look on her face. She'll send Victoria Newman a text, asking if he's still awake. Victoria will show up, and Claire will say she's worried she's commitment phobic. But Victoria will tell her daughter it's okay if she doesn't know what comes next. Claire will show Victoria the photo Kyle sent and say she feels terrible about letting Harrison Abbott down. The three of them used to be a little family. Don't feel guilty about the way you live your life, Victoria will advise her daughter. At the Abbott estate, Kyle will have a flashback about Claire as he pines for her. Jack will ask to join him, and he'll say sure, although he'll warn his father he's not in the best headspace. Let me guess, Jack will reply. Claire? He'll say he had bad timing and is sorry he had to pull him away from LA. Kyle will say he wishes he could be in two places at once, but it wouldn't make a difference anyway. I just don't know where to begin. So much has changed between Claire and me since I got back from Nice, Kyle will say. And now, after seeing her in LA, he thinks he may have lost Claire for good. He'll worry that something could happen with Holden and wishes he were still in LA. Then he'll whine to Jack that he sent a photo of him and Harrison to Claire, and she didn't even respond. I get her not wanting to talk to me, but Harrison did nothing to hurt her, he'll add. She loves him, or so I thought. But Jack will tell him the ball is in Claire's court. There is nothing he can do. Kyle will say maybe there is. He plans to get down to the bottom of what happened between Holden and Audra Charles, so Claire can see him for who he really is. Outside the shadow room, Mitch will ask Sharon if he knows her. Wait, this is impossible, she'll say. You're dead. Sharon will start yelling at the man she thinks is Matt, but he'll say she's mistaken and a bouncer will come out, say hello to Mitch, and let him in the club. But he won't let Sharon in. She'll rush back to the hospital and tell Nick she bumped into Matt Clark. He died decades ago, Nick will say. This doesn't make sense. Sharon will say she looked him right in the face and knew, without a doubt, it was him. Matt Clark is back. Sharon will tell Nick the bouncer called him Mitch and let him into the club. If Matt Clark is Sienna's husband, this lends a whole new level of mystery surrounding Noah's car crash, Nick will say, adding he needs to see for himself. So, they'll head to the club, but the bouncer won't let them in. Nick will suggest Sharon show him a photo of Noah, and he'll sneak in the door. Nick will confront Sienna Bacall and ask if she knows Matt Clark. He'll tell her about Sharon's encounter and say he thinks it's her husband Mitch and wants to look him in the face. Sienna will tell him she doesn't know any Matt Clark and that her husband isn't even there. So, Nick will ask if she's hiding something. Finally, Sienna will say if he continues this, she'll be forced to ban him from her club. So, Nick will agree to leave. But do me a favor, tell your husband Mitch Nick Newman wants to speak with him. But the moment Nick leaves, Mitch will walk out and ask who that was. Sienna will say it was Nick Newman, who's accusing him of being someone named Matt Clark. Keep reading The Soap Scoop for Young and The Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for the next 2 weeks, November 3rd to November 14th, reveal that Nick Newman and Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, have a showdown coming up. Victoria Newman will also mull over some Noah Newman puzzle pieces. So here's what Y&R fans will see next. During the week of November 3 to 7, Mitch will insist he's not Matt before scampering away from Sharon Newman. Sienna Bacall will shut down Nick Newman's next interrogation, but he'll be determined to speak with Matt himself. After Noah awakens and gets his bandages off, he'll open up about time off canvas. However, Noah may be a bit cagey and leave his parents wondering if they're really getting the whole story. Nick will eventually have the showdown he's after with Matt. Even if Matt continues to insist this is a case of mistaken identity, Nick will know better and will put his familiar foe on full blast. As for Clare Newman, she'll feel conflicted after that incredible night in bed with Holden Novak. Part of her will love the freedom she's found with Holden, but another part of Clare will remain drawn to Kyle Abbott. Kyle and Clare may be on the verge of a blow-up since he'll eventually demand answers about her time in Los Angeles with Holden. If Clare admits to her passionate Holden encounter, Kyle may lash out. In the meantime, Audra will make an LA appearance and interact with a drunk guy at the Shadow Room. Holden will see Audra at the nightclub and perhaps intervene if the guy she's drinking with tries anything inappropriate. Back with Sienna, she'll try to keep the cops in the dark on some things while Nick worries about Sharon potentially landing in danger. That's always a possibility whenever Matt Clark is around. Victoria may also decide to make herself useful in LA, since she'll mull over some Noah puzzle pieces. There'll be a lot of suspicions to unpack regarding the crash and this mysterious Matt comeback situation. While Lily Winters blows up at Kane Ashby, Victor Newman will get ready for an attack that his enemies won't see coming. Jack Abbott is obviously Victor's biggest rival at the moment, but Victor may have other enemy targets that come into play too. Victor may move forward with his plans during the week of November 10 to 14th, so we'll see if the AI program gets used by then. Jack, Diane Jenkins Abbott, Kyle and Billy Abbott will come together to protect Jabot as best as they can. Matt will also do some pretty disturbing things back in Los Angeles. Sharon and Nick had better be ready since Mitch, aka Matt, is about to make some dirty moves. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Noah's past will unravel and lead to updates on some wild news, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, November 4th, reveal that Noah Newman will awaken, so Nick Newman and Sharon Newman will rush back to his hospital room. After seeking answers related to Mitch Bacall, aka Matt Clark, at the Shadow Room, Sharon and Nick will realize they have to shift their attention back to Noah. There'll be some news regarding Noah's condition, so Nick and Sharon will race to his side. Noah is about to come out of his coma, so Sharon and Nick will be beyond relieved once that happens. Lucas Adams will make his debut in Tuesday's Y&R episode, so fans will get their first glimpse of him as a Noah Newman recast. Although Adams will be seen in bandages at first, those bandages are set to come off in the very near future. Although Nick and Sharon will be eager to quiz Noah about everything he's been hiding from them, that'll have to wait. Noah will need to be less groggy and out of it before he can answer too many questions. In the meantime, Nikki Newman will hear some alarm bells in her head when it comes to Clare Newman. It'll seem like Clare is making too many impulsive decisions lately, as far as Nikki's concerned. Nikki may suspect that Clare went to bed with Holden Novak and worry about how that'll complicate the situation. Since Clare obviously isn't over Kyle Abbott, Nikki may fear her granddaughter is making a mistake by distracting herself with Holden. Speaking of Holden, he'll work to protect Audra Charles on Tuesday's show. Holden will stay tight-lipped about the secrets Audra is keeping, which affect him too since their shady pasts are intertwined. Kyle will remain determined to get to the bottom of everything Audra and Holden are hiding, so stay tuned for any shocking updates he might uncover in the coming episodes. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Audra and Holden's history will slowly unravel, so fans will get hit with some curveballs related to their characters eventually. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kyle Abbott will have at least 4 revenge targets soon. Some major payback plots are on the way, so we should talk about Kyle's need for vengeance and which characters he'll go after. 1. Holden Kyle has already been suspicious and concerned about Holden Novak making moves on Clare Newman. It's clear that Kyle doesn't like or trust Holden, but this growing rivalry is about to soar to new heights. Kyle will inevitably find out about Holden taking Clare to bed in Los Angeles, so that's going to make him loathe Holden even more. It'll provide some extra motivation when it comes to Kyle's desire to expose Holden's past mistakes and take him down. Of course, Kyle won't forget about his desire to make Audra pay. Clare and Kyle would still be a happy couple if it weren't for all the drama Audra unleashed while working for Victor Newman. Since Kyle still blames Audra for setting his split from Clare in motion, he'll go after revenge on her too. Kyle will be determined to reveal what really happened between Holden and Clare. Although Kyle has been pretty fixated on repairing his love life, that'll change now that Jabot is facing such a terrible threat. Kyle was summoned back to GC to help deal with all the corporate chaos, so this is the start of him getting more involved in his family's work issues. Victor is all set to unleash the AI program that Phyllis Summers surrendered to him as part of their deal. Kyle will help Jack Abbott, Diane Jenkins Abbott, and Billy Abbott take a bold stand against Victor soon enough, since Phyllis leaked the software to Victor and wants to take over Jabot in the end. She surely won't escape the revenge she deserves. Jack is hoping to convince Phyllis to join Team Abbott, but she only looks out for herself in most Y&R storylines. Every word that comes out of Phyllis's mouth tends to be a lie or some sort of twisted manipulation. Kyle won't stand for Phyllis running the show at Jabot, especially since she's been playing dirty with Victor. This whole mess is why Phyllis should also find herself on Kyle's revenge list, which is getting longer every day. The Young and the Restless, spoilersy, say Kyle is headed down a vengeful path, so stick with us for updates on all payback news and fierce face-offs to come. Welcome to the Young and the Restless Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that, I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Today's episode was a welcome break from the endless power struggles going on in Genoa City, as favorites on The Young and the Restless are under the constant threat of Kane's artificial intelligence program. It was a Halloween treat to see a father and son, in the form of Kyle and his son, Harrison, celebrate Halloween. Y&R's costume designer, Mandy Line, came up with some fun costumes for the two to wear. As Kyle and Harrison dressed up as two of the Three Little Pigs' houses, Kyle was the House of Straw, while Harrison was the House of Brick. Kyle tried his best to hide from his son that he was disappointed that Clare wasn't there to put on her costume, the House of Sticks. It was probably planned that she should have a while ago, and Kyle did his best to hide his disappointment that it wasn't happening. The jovial nature of the scenes had a cloud over them. Kyle was disappointed that Clare was with Holden in Los Angeles, but he remained determined to stay upbeat for his precocious, energetic, and talkative son. Way too often, we see child characters disappear once custody and paternity are established, only to return the following summer, suddenly a teenager, ready to embark on stories on their own. We wondered if The Young and the Restless was going to age Kyle, as he was referred to living it up in Italy when he was visiting summer summer. Fortunately, that didn't happen. We're getting some nice, quiet moments with Kyle and Harrison. Give us more, Y&R. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full Y&R recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. On the Friday, October 31st episode of The Young and the Restless, Sharon received an unwelcome blast from the best. Kyle lifted Harrison's spirits, and Clare and Holden took their relationship to the next level. Harrison was excited to see how his and Kyle's costumes matched up. The theme of the costumes was the houses of the Three Little Pigs, but naturally, with Clare in Los Angeles, they were missing one of them. Harrison was grateful that Kyle took the time to dress up for Connor's party. Kyle flashed back to his visit with Clare, and the memory seemed to cause him pain. Harrison asked if Kyle missed Clare because he did as well, and Kyle confirmed he did. Kyle told Harrison about his trip to Los Angeles, and he felt bad that he couldn't bring Clare home with him like he promised. Jack and Diane needed him by their side at Jabot, so his trip had to abruptly end. Harrison tried his best to understand, and he requested they take a selfie in their costumes to send to Summer and Clare. Harrison recounted his fun night out with all of his cousins and told Kyle how much he couldn't wait to be a big kid like them one day. Back in Los Angeles, Clare and Holden attended the Shadow Room's Halloween event. Holden complimented Clare's outfit, and he recalled the stressful family situation going on. However, Victoria told her that there was nothing she could do, so there was no reason for her to hang around. Clare said getting her mind off of Kyle was a main reason for her being at the club, and she clarified that it wasn't the only reason. She wanted to be there, with him, and she had enjoyed herself so far on the trip. Clare ordered vodka shots at the bar, and Holden was surprised at how much she let loose. Sienna spotted them from across the club, but she didn't look too enthusiastic at the image. She approached Clare and Holden and offered them a round of drinks on the house, and she noted Clare seemed to be the more responsible of the pair. Sienna asked for a moment alone with Holden, which piqued Clare's interest at first. She told Holden about Kyle's inquiry regarding Holden's relationship with Aura, and although Kyle wouldn't let the mouse go, Sienna thought Kyle's worry had merit. She asked Holden if he had an agenda with Clare. Holden wasn't surprised that Kyle went digging for dirt on him, but he maintained good intentions when it came to Clare. Sienna confessed that she'd remained tight-lipped about whatever went down with Holden and Audra in the past, but now he owed her a favor. At some point, she'd come to him, looking for a favor, and he needed to answer the call. In Noah's hospital room, Sharon tried to understand how their family got to this state of affairs. There were no changes in his condition, and the police hadn't been forthcoming about any information. Sharon wanted answers, and it seemed like Nick was determined to get them. Nick promised he was working on finding answers about the accident, but Sharon was determined to help in some way. He encouraged her to get some rest at the hotel so she could finally have a break. He vowed to call her if anything changed with Noah's condition. Sharon had been going non-stop since she first arrived in Los Angeles, so some time away from the hospital would do her good. Ultimately, she agreed to step away for a bit and at least freshen herself up. Nick joked that Noah was going as a mummy for Halloween because of the bandages, but he had to wait for Sharon to step aside to make the corny joke. It looked like Nick was torn up inside by fear of the unknown with his son's injuries. The longer it took for Noah to recover, the more it crushed Nick, Sharon, and the rest of the Newman family. After she left the hospital room, Sharon looked up the shadow room and decided it was time for her to pay Sienna a visit. She immediately bumped into Clare at the club, and she insisted that Clare take her to Sienna so she could question her about Noah's accident. She picked up on how intoxicated Clare was, and she decided it would be better if she looked for Sienna herself. Clare kept expressing her desire for Noah to get better soon, but the delivery came off as sloppy because of her drunken state. Sienna located Sienna and explained she was desperate for her help. She asked Sharon for an update on Noah, but there weren't any additional changes. Sienna didn't have anything else to add that she hadn't already told Nick, but Sharon remembered her last few conversations with Noah. She wondered if Sienna had picked up on the troubled tone in Noah's voice on the night of the accident. Since they shared time together, Sienna felt like Noah's excitement to open a club was palpable, but it was his connection with her husband, Mitch, that led Noah to Los Angeles. Sharon learned that Noah arrived in Los Angeles over 3 months ago, but he kept that a secret from everyone. Sharon wanted to get in touch with Mitch and speak to him, but Sienna wasn't sure if that could be arranged. Sharon persisted, and Sienna was backed into a corner. She said she's seen what she could do, which Sharon appreciated. Sharon made a phone call to Nick from outside the shadow room after speaking with Sienna, and he was concerned that she had gone there without him. However, she wanted answers that nobody had been able to find. Sharon told Nick, "I think she's hiding something, Nick. I can feel it. Noah's connection to her husband, this club. I think it's all connected to the reason Noah's car was run off the road." Sharon told Nick about Noah's multiple visits to Sienna and Mitch, and she was determined to wait it out so she could speak to Mitch. Nick was adamant she return to him or the hotel, but she wasn't ready to listen. She reluctantly agreed to leave if Mitch didn't return soon. She got off the phone and bumped into Matt Clark. A dangerous blast from her past, Holden and Clare locked eyes from across the club, and sparks were flying throughout the establishment. She asked what Sienna wanted from home, and he spilled on Kyle, seeking out dirt on him from Sienna. Claire stormed off, upset that Kyle once again refused to respect any of the boundaries she had previously enacted. She wasn't sure why she was enraged at Kyle going behind her back, but it wasn't a surprise. Holden defended it as Kyle doing something for the woman he loved, but she hoped Claire wanted Kyle to go home. However, Holden felt like something else was going on. He wondered if another part of Claire wished she had left and gone back to Genoa City with Kyle. But Claire responded with a kiss, silencing him. Holden asked if Claire wanted to get back on the dance floor, but she wanted to take their physicality to the next level and head back to the hotel. They quickly arrived at the hotel, and although they considered having a few more drinks, they kept locking eyes, and Claire admitted she wasn't tired. He wasn't ready for bed either, so she took away his drink and put her hand in his. And it wasn't long before they were in the throes of passion. Clothing was swiftly strewn all about the room, and Holden was on top of a mostly unclothed Claire. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Audra Charles will have a drunk nightclub encounter and find more trouble in Los Angeles. It turns out Audra's about to catch a flight to LA and head to the Shadow Room, where she'll meet someone and potentially land in a risky situation. During the week of November 3-7, Holden Novak will have a little time on his own while Claire Newman's with her family. That'll give Holden a chance to spot Audra in Los Angeles and worry about what she's up to. Y&R spoilers say Audra will slide in a booth at the nightclub, where she'll interact with a patron who's had too much to drink. Mike Falco will play a drunk customer who chats with Audra and shares a toast with her. Audra will apparently turn on the charm and do some flirting, but things could take a tense turn. It's possible this drunk man will make unwanted moves on Audra, so Holden may pipe up and insist the guys had enough. Holden might complain about having to rescue Audra, though she may argue she was just having some fun. Audra may act like she had everything under control, but Holden might disagree and wonder what she's even doing in LA. Perhaps Audra will act like she had to come where the action is, since so many Genoa City key players have been hanging out in Los Angeles lately. Audra might mention wanting to check on Noah Newman and catch up with some familiar faces. That'll no doubt include Sienna Bacall and Mitch Bacall, aka Matt Clark, since Audra will be at the Shadow Room. However, it looks like Holden will decide not to tell Claire or anyone else that he's crossed paths with Audra in LA. Holden will keep quiet about his Audra sighting, but that could backfire if Claire finds out he's been hiding important news from her. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Audra may play an intriguing role in the mystery storyline that's about to heat up, so we'll bring you updates on all the chaos. The Young and the Restless recap for Monday, November 3rd, reveals that Mitch Bacall will claim he's not Matt Clark and send Sharon Newman away. Outside the Shadow Room, Mitch will insist Sharon must be confusing him with someone else. Sharon will know Matt Clark is supposed to be dead, but she'll be adamant that Matt is standing right in front of her. As Mitch heads inside on Monday's Y&R episode, he'll tell the bouncer to keep Sharon out. Sharon will argue with the bouncer briefly before rushing back to the hospital, where she'll give Nick Newman updates on her Matt Clark encounter. Sharon will admit she heard the bouncer call Matt by the name Mitch, so she'll assume that's Sienna Bacall's husband. After looking deep in Matt's eyes, Sharon will feel certain that was him. Nick will believe Sharon and realize Matt's involvement could add a whole new layer to the mystery surrounding what happened to Noah Newman. Once Nick and Sharon return to the Shadow Room, they'll both be prevented from entering. Sharon will offer up some Noah-related news and distract the bouncer by showing him a pic while Nick sneaks in the club. Nick will corner Sienna and bring her up to speed on Sharon's interaction with Matt, aka Mitch. Sienna will insist her husband doesn't have an alias and will shut down Nick's efforts to see him by acting like he's gone for the evening. Nick will think Sienna seems uncomfortable and afraid, so he'll know she's hiding something. Sienna won't like all these grilling sessions and will threaten to ban Nick from her club if they continue. Nick will finally agree to take off, but he'll urge Sienna to tell Mitch that Nick Newman wants to meet with him when he's available. When Mitch reappears, he'll catch a glimpse of Nick as he's leaving and question Sienna about the interaction. Sienna will note that it was Noah's father and will add that Nick claims Mitch is Matt Clark. Once Nick rejoins Sharon outside, he'll tell Sharon that the name Matt Clark didn't mean anything to Sienna. However, Nick will remain suspicious since Sienna was so spooked and uneasy. Whether Sienna is in the loop on her husband's previous identity or not, Sharon and Nick will believe she's hiding something. Nick will ultimately decide that he has to find a way to get to Matt when he won't see him coming. At the Abbott mansion, Jack Abbott will join Kyle Abbott for a nightcap, so Kyle will open up about his frustrations regarding Clare and worry about losing her for good. Nevertheless, Kyle will mention his plan to uncover what Holden Novak and Audra Charles are hiding. Jack will warn Kyle that he could push Clare even further away, but Kyle will be willing to take the risk if it means protecting Clare from Holden. After Clare Newman and Holden Novak finish their passionate encounter in Los Angeles, they'll agree it was amazing. Clare will acknowledge that she never really let herself go like that until now, and will assure Holden that she has no regrets. Since Clare's family members are staying at the same hotel, Holden will take off instead of spending the night with her. Once Clare's gone, she'll flash back to the passion that just erupted before her thoughts drift to Kyle. Clare will eventually see the selfie Kyle sent with Harrison Abbott in their Halloween costumes, so she'll look pensive. After Clare summons Victoria Newman to her room, they'll talk about the wonderful time she's been having with Holden. Even so, Clare will wonder if she's just running from commitment and will feel guilty about not being there for Harrison on Halloween. Victoria will think Clare needs to separate her feelings when it comes to Kyle and Harrison, since caring about Kyle's son doesn't mean she has to be with his father. That said, Victoria will question whether Clare feels like she's letting down Harrison, or if she really feels like she's letting down Kyle. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Clare will have a lot to mull over, so stay tuned to see what direction her life will take next. And Holden keeps Audra's secret. Next week, on The Young and the Restless, Lucas Adams makes his debut as Noah Newman. While Noah continues to recover from being run off the road, Holden, who just slept with Clare, keeps a secret for Audra. The Los Angeles scene is hopping from November 3rd to 7, especially where Nick and Sharon are concerned. On Friday, Holden and Clare connected after Holden admitted to Clare that Kyle talked to Sienna in hopes of finding out information about him. Clare did her best to forget Kyle and hooked up with Holden. Next week, Holden keeps a secret for Audra. Is this piece of information something new, or is this about what happened during their past LA lives? When will we find out what bad thing Audra allegedly did? Meanwhile, Nick and Sharon are about to face a ton of drama together and separately. First, Nick and Sharon receive a blast from the past, but it's Sharon who's the first one to encounter him. At the end of Friday's episode, she ran into Matt Clark at the Shadow Room after she pumped Sienna for information on Noah. Matt is an old rival of Nick's, and he's also a guy who raped Sharon decades ago. It will be a busy week for Sharon and Nick. On Monday, they receive a blast from the past. Matt Clark is definitely not someone they share warm and fuzzy memories with. On Wednesday, Nick confronts his mortal enemy, but by Thursday, he is worrying about Sharon's safety. And when they're not dealing with Matt, the exes make sure they are by their son's bedside, which is a good thing, because on Tuesday, November 4th, Lucas Adams is supposed to make his Y&R debut. It isn't until Thursday, however, that Noah opens up about his time away from Genoa City. What will he reveal? Finally, look for Sienna to cover her tracks with the police. Why would she feel the need to do that? What is she hiding? No worries, Y&R fans. There will be some goings-on in Genoa City. Victor plans his sneak attack against his enemies. Perhaps he will utilize the AI software, program, superweapon thingy to take care of more than just Jabot. Will this attack succeed? Will Victor be the lone GC mogul sitting on the throne? In other news, Lily and Kane have been spending time together, even though Lily claims she's simply doing it to obtain his AI program so she can destroy it. She's uber annoyed that someone stole the program, and that annoyance won't go away anytime soon. Look for Lily to, once again, lose her patience with Kane. Finally, Clare must head back to GC because Kyle has a conversation with her. He confronts Clare about her time in LA. Has she found herself? And what will she tell Kyle about her and Holden? Clare makes her feelings clear, but they could be kind of foggy the day after. On The Young and the Restless, October 31st, Clare put the moves on Holden. She wanted to make her feelings for him clear after learning what Kyle had done before he left Los Angeles. However, she might regret this risky move, especially since she doesn't know him very well. Clare was enjoying her night at the Shadow Room. It was the perfect place to blow off steam and to forget about what had happened in Genoa City. She didn't want to think about Kyle anymore. Unfortunately, Holden had news to share about her ex. He learned from Sienna that Kyle wanted dirt on him. Clare was upset that Kyle overstepped his boundaries for the second time. Here's why Kyle should butt out of the Newmans' drama on The Young and the Restless. Holden argued that Kyle obviously loves her. However, Clare would rather forget that Kyle exists. Holden wondered whether she wished she had followed Kyle back to Genoa City instead of being in the club with him. Clare looked into Holden's eyes and kissed him passionately. Holden was shocked. He asked Clare if she was sure about what she was doing. She grabbed his hands, and they left the club together. Holden followed Clare back to the hotel room. She wondered why she was thirsty. Holden reminded her that she was killing it on the dance floor. Clare didn't want to drink anymore. She wanted to have a clear head for whatever happens next between them. Holden asked her if she was tired. She admitted that she wasn't. They kissed passionately and moved to the bed. Keep in mind that Clare's already been drinking most of the night. She discovered that Kyle had overstepped his boundaries and now wants to move on from him. She might regret the bold move that she makes with Holden. After all, she still doesn't know him, and it's unclear whether he's hiding something or if he's involved in Noah's car crash. Sure, the night seems exciting and fun, but the day after will be a different story. Will Clare wake up and wonder where she went wrong? She might find herself torn between two men. That's not all that happened today. Matt Clark came face to face with Sharon, who was also at the club. What happened to Matt Clark on The Young and the Restless? On The Young and the Restless, Sharon Newman's Halloween shocker leaves her reeling when Matt Clark resurfaces after 20 years. In the October 31st episode of The Young and the Restless, Sharon Newman's world turned upside down when she came face to face with Matt Clark, a man she thought was long dead. Her desperate search for answers about Noah's accident led her to the Shadow Room, where one shocking encounter brought her face to face with a nightmare she'd buried decades ago. Sharon's investigation into her son's accident took a chilling turn when Sienna Bacall revealed Noah had been in Los Angeles months earlier and worked with someone named Mitch. Determined to connect the dots, Sharon pushed for a meeting, unaware that Mitch was actually Matt Clark. When she finally saw him, her shock was visceral. The man who once tormented her and Nick stood alive before her, wearing a new name and a deceptively calm smile. For longtime viewers, Matt Clark's reappearance resurrects one of Genoa City's darkest chapters. His crimes against Sharon and Nick were devastating, and his presumed death offered closure that never truly healed. Howarth's portrayal injects a sinister new edge into an old feud that could unravel everything Sharon's rebuilt since those years. Matt's return casts a shadow not just over Sharon, but also the Newmans as a whole. If he's connected to Noah's crash, or using Sienna as a pawn, this isn't random vengeance. It's calculated and personal. Nick, who's been focused on finding out what happened to Noah, doesn't yet know his ex-wife's discovery. But once he does, the tension between the families could explode. Every buried betrayal between the Newmans and their enemies is back in play. What makes this storyline compelling is how far Sharon has come since Matt last terrorized her. This time, she's not the young, frightened woman he once manipulated. Her decision to investigate and confront her fears shows growth, but seeing him alive will reopen deep emotional scars. It's clear that this is more than a personal reckoning. It's a catalyst for a much larger storm in Genoa City. Young and the Restless, early spoilers for Nov 0307 2025 reveal Kyle Abbott making a deal and Billy Abbott digging into something. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week and then dive into what is coming next week. On Wednesday, October 29th, we've got Jack Abbott telling Billy that Victor Newman stole Kane Ashby's AI, and Jack thinks that Phyllis Summers helped him do it. Jack wants Billy to try and shake some information out of Phyllis, but Billy says she won't tell him if she is working with Victor. Billy actually thinks Jack may stand a better chance of getting info from Phyllis, but he disagrees. Jack vows to make Phyllis pay if she is part of this, and if she is helping Victor target Jabot. Billy is absolutely in agreement with Jack on all of this. Then his brother notices bruises on Billy's knuckles, and he admits that he punched Adam Newman. Jack agrees that fighting the Newmans right now is fine, and they need to come at them hard. Billy goes to find Phyllis to ask her some tough questions. But first, Kane is with Phyllis and says that he thinks she's playing him when she keeps insisting that Victor is going to target Arabesque with the AI that he stole because she's a lying liar. Kane asks why Victor wouldn't go after Jack and Jabot, and Phyllis says it's because Kane is to blame for Nick Newman getting hurt in France. Phyllis gets upset when Kane says he warned Diane Jenkins and Jack about the stolen AI, and Kane also wants to know why Phyllis is upset that he warned the Abbotts. She insists that Damien can trust her. He thinks Phyllis is trying to keep him off balance and distract him while she stabs him in the back. However, Kane is also kind of flirty with Phyllis and calls her fascinating, but I don't know if he's being sincere or if he's playing with her because he knows she stole his AI. Nikki Newman and Victoria Newman are at the hospital, and Sharon Newman wants to take them in so Noah Newman can hear their voices. Nick, meanwhile, is not happy with the investigation into the crash, and he wants to talk to Sienna. So, Sharon tells Nick, Go dig into it. And then Sharon tells Nikki and Victoria how awful it is to be in the same position with another child traumatized by a car crash, and they comfort her. Kyle asked Sienna Bacall to tell him all about Audra Charles. She will, but first, she wants an update on Noah. Sienna says that Noah was in her club doing research about opening his club in LA, and her husband Mitch was considering investing. And she says that Nick has already come to see her about the wreck. Sienna says that Noah was there the night of the crash, and Kyle is wondering if it is foul play. Who would go after Noah? Then Nick shows up, and Sienna speaks to him alone. She says that nothing was off in the club or strange the night that Noah was injured. Nick wants to speak with her staff, and he's also shocked to find out from Sienna that the police did not talk to her at all. Nick thinks she's holding back. He's completely mistrusting her, and Sienna says he can talk to her staff tomorrow. It's too busy right now, and they're understaffed. But then Nick accuses Sienna of being up to something and trying to buy time to talk to her staff and get all their stories straight on Young and the Restless. And then Nick starts implying that Sienna must have been interested in Noah. But she says, Look, I'm married. Nick's main exercise has always been jumping to conclusions, and he's not exactly the brightest crayon in the box, you know. Also, Kyle makes a deal with her. Sienna will tell him about Audra and Holden Novak if Kyle agrees to look into Noah's accident. On Thursday, October 30th, it is the official kickoff of November sweeps on Young and the Restless, and we've got Jack stepping up to protect his family and protect Jabot and their legacy. And obviously, they're concerned about Victor, the AI program, and also Phyllis. Meanwhile, Billy and Phyllis swap some info. And of course, Billy and Jack are working together to try and figure out if Phyllis is involved and who she's working with, and whether she might help them since she's a super-duper hacker. Jack and Billy definitely want Phyllis on their side, and I wonder if she'd tell Billy that she stole Kane's AI and gave it to Victor, but is tricking him, or if she's going to lie to them the same way she's lying to Kane. Victor offers Michael Baldwin another chance to get back into his good graces. I assume that Victor wants Michael back as his fixer while he's using the AI, because Victor knows he might have some legal problems come out of this. On Friday, October 31st, we've got Holden seeing Claire Grace Newman in a whole new way. I wonder if she's going to do up all sexy for Halloween. We have scenes soon with Mitch Bacall. He is Sienna's hubby, the Shadow Lounge manager, of course, who's a friend of Holden. So, we may get him at the end of this week, or it may be in next week when things kick up into high gear because of sweeps. So, Kyle is going above and beyond for Harrison Locke on Friday. I do wonder if Kyle jets back to Genoa City just to go trick-or-treating with his kid, and then turns around and goes back to LA so he can follow through on this deal with Sienna. He's desperate to discredit Audra, and if he can get some info on Holden as well, that would be great. And Kyle may try and convince Claire to come for Halloween with Harrison, but I don't think she's going to miss Halloween in Los Angeles. Sharon's quest for answers about Noah's accident leads her into danger by the end of this week. And then, heading into next week, November 3rd through the 7th, it is the first full week of November sweeps. So big stuff building up. Sally Spectra has faith in Audra, but what Kyle uncovers about Audra could hurt Sally and Abbott.com. I'm starting to wonder if that company is ever going to launch. Sharon and Nick are both heading into danger soon as they chase leads about Noah's crash. Kane is fighting to get his AI back. He wants to redeem himself in the eyes of his kids and get Lily Winter's forgiveness. And he's also trying to fight that temptation that is Phyllis. Victoria and Nikki can't stay in Los Angeles too long because of the AI crisis, and they're needed at Newman Enterprises. But pretty soon, the Newmans are going to bring Noah back to Genoa City to finish recuperating. Noah's recovery is going to be slow, but he is up and fine, walking and talking before Christmas. I've seen behind-the-scenes pictures. You can see them here where Noah is on the set. He's at Crimson Lights and see the Christmas decor. So, he's going to be just fine. And it looks like Mitch and Sienna may actually relocate to Genoa City, at least for a while. So, Kyle is also back in Genoa City soon, and he may make Audra's life miserable if Sienna gives him some really super-duper good dirt. By the way, we have the dates for Christine Cricket Blair and Danny Romalotti's wedding. It's going to be deeper into November Friday, November 21st, and Monday, November 24th. Sharon Case delivers a deeply emotional performance as Sharon relives her past losses after Noah's car accident on The Young and the Restless. Sharon Case is Soap Hub's The Young and the Restless Performer of the Month for October 2025. As Sharon Newman faced the terrifying news that her son Noah was in a serious car accident in Los Angeles, Case turned in a powerhouse performance, layered with raw grief, fear, and history. This wasn't just a mother's worst nightmare. It was a haunting echo of everything Sharon has already endured. When Sharon learned about Noah's accident, viewers immediately saw the storm of emotions cross her face: disbelief, dread, and heartbreak. For longtime fans, the parallels were impossible to miss. Sharon has lived this nightmare before, losing Cassie after a tragic crash, and nearly losing faith when she and Lucy Romalotti were involved in their own accident not long ago. Case drew on years of history with effortless authenticity. Her trembling voice, the stillness before she spoke, tears, and the way she tried to stay strong for Nick and her daughters all felt achingly real. Without saying much, she reminded us of a mother's unhealed scars and the courage it takes to face the same fear again. What makes Case's work this month stand out isn't just the emotion she poured into every scene, it's the restraint. The way Sharon listened to updates at the hospital, holding back tears while trying to be calm for everyone else, carried more weight than any outburst could have. Although, of course, Sharon had plenty of outbursts too. Case's command of Sharon's emotional rhythm is what makes her one of daytime's most reliable anchors. She never forgets where her character has been, and that sense of history adds richness to every reaction. This month's episodes proved once again why she earned a Daytime Emmy nomination for her work last year. By weaving Sharon's past into her present, Case brought depth and continuity that few can match. The fear in her eyes when she looked at Noah's hospital bed wasn't just about this accident. It was about every moment she's fought to keep her family whole. Case's ability to bridge decades of heartbreak into a single storyline is the mark of a true veteran. October's episodes reminded us that Sharon Newman's strength has always come from surviving the impossible, and Sharon Case makes that survival feel painfully, beautifully real. Michael finally grew a backbone on Thursday's episode, but will it last? On The Young and the Restless, October 30th, Michael shared the reason why he left Victor in the first place. He also grew a backbone for the second or third time. But will it stick? At the GCAC, Michael asked Victor for an update on Noah. Victor told him that there aren't any suspects yet. He asked Michael to look into the case. Michael feared that something was happening to the Newmans. He was also disappointed that Victor wasn't turning to him as a friend. He was using him as his lackey once again. Victor claimed that he doesn't see Michael as his lackey. He wants a favor for his grandson. Victor asked Michael to look into Detective Burrow and Sienna Bacall. Michael had a realization. He quit working for Victor for the sake of his mental health. He's not going to jump whenever Victor snaps his fingers. Victor asked Michael to do it for Noah. Michael assured Victor that he's not going back to his old job of being his fixer, but he'll look into the case and see what he can find. Michael made his boundaries clear. He might have learned his lesson. But how long will this stick this time around? It won't take long for Victor to gaslight him. Victor doesn't care about boundaries. He wants what he wants, and he wants it now. Michael asked Victor if he had the AI software in his possession. Victor claimed that he did. But is there a plot twist in Kane's AI plans on Y&R? He doesn't think Victor should pursue Jack. He warned him that it could backfire, but Victor doesn't like being told what to do, especially by Michael. Michael hesitated about working for Victor again. However, he'll only look into Noah's situation and Sienna Bacall for now, but Victor can't wait. He told Michael that he's ready to make his next move. He doesn't want the Abbotts to get their defenses before he strikes. So, what does Michael plan to do? Will he go all the way and work with Victor again? Or will he continue to set boundaries with the mustache? He grew a backbone again, but it's only temporary.